Well, currently we do have 110 representatives in the State House, and we have approximately 3 representatives for every 1 Senate district. So we have 38 state senators. And within a House district, you have a constituency of about 85,000 and maybe as high as 110,000. I think the largest district we have, I think Jeff Urick from Macomb County may have the largest contingency, about 110,000 people. The 40th district, which I represent, has about 89,000 people. That's about the average. If we reduce the size of the State House to 76 members, we'd be reducing it by 38 members, which would put us at 2 House members for every 1 Senate district, which would increase a Senate district maybe from about 130,000 constituents to about 140,000 constituents. So it would make us work a little bit harder. I think with our current staff that we have and our budget, we could handle the additional population increase without really needing to increase our office staff. We would reduce salaries and fringe benefits of legislators as well as staff to the state on an annual basis of, I think it's around $7.5 million. We would free up office space in the HOB, which would add another almost north of $2 million in savings to put us over $9 to $9.5 million annually of a savings to the state. At the same time, with 76 legislators, you'd get harder working legislators. You'd probably see less frivolous legislation. And I think at the end of the day, this is a good thing for the state. It's a savings for the state. It's less government. And I think that the savings, I think people would be very interested in. I think it's a good thing. If a state senator can handle a district of, say, 250,000 to 275,000, why can't one legislator, House legislator, handle half that? I think they can handle it easily. We always want to look for smaller government, more efficient government, and savings to the state. This does all 3. It doesn't affect term limits. Term limits will stay exactly where they are. It's a discussion we could have. We do 3 2-year terms in the House. In the State Senate, they do 2 4-year terms. Some people feel it's a little short. By the time you're done in the State House, and I'm in my 3rd term, you're really learning the system, and then it's time to leave. I don't disagree. We could have a conversation, but this resolution does not touch term limits. It keeps them intact. Well, I think they instituted term limits back in the 90s, and they're seeing what kind of effect it has on running our government. And I think in some instances, people look at it, it's been not necessarily a positive effect. I'm not sure I agree with them. With Lieutenant Governor Calley's proposal, it really takes what we're doing now. We work approximately 90 days over the calendar year and reduces it down to really the first 3 months of the year and cuts salary and benefits. The problem I have with that is that it doesn't do anything with term limits. So the combination of reducing the legislature to that period of time with term limits is not a good combination. You can do one or the other. So, for instance, if they got rid of term limits and looked at Lieutenant Governor Calley's plan, it probably makes more sense. Then you look at Jeff Urick's, Representative Urick's from Macomb County, who does a unicameral legislature, which is just one body. I'm not necessarily in favor of that because when we address bills and introduce bills, the filtering process that goes through between the House and then the Senate, which is the upper chamber with more seniority and usually experience, really has more education and better education. But yet the new ideas are coming maybe from the House. And so it's a great filtering process before it reaches the governor's desk to determine if the governor will support the bill and sign it or veto the bill. Yeah, the chamber wants to look at changing the term limits, but kind of keeping it intact. And I think that's a good conversation to have because having now served almost 5 years, I'll be going into my last year here in 2018, it does go by rather quick. However, as I stated earlier, you learn and really start to figure things out and it's time to go. And you probably could add a little bit of time on, but I'd be very cautious with that because I do believe in term limits. It gives other people a chance to serve their government. It takes this and doesn't make it a profession. It makes you want to have to go back and find another career or go back to the career you came from. And again, it just allows other people to come in and express their views and opinions how your state is going to operate. I hear positive and they want to have the discussion because anytime we can save the state money and shrink our government, it seems to be commonplace in everyday conversation. So I look forward to the discussion. I appreciate Representative Miller giving us an opportunity, and we'll see what the results will be.